Hello, today we'll be repairing the Ninja Foodi. I think it's a 501 model with the smart lid, and I hope this video will save you some money and time and also the environment, so you wouldn't throw it in the garbage. So basically the main problem in this model is when you change the type of the cook. This thing doesn't really change the, would it be air fryer, pressure, or simply the middle one. How this thing work? It's really simple. This thing inside has a magnet. It's choosing three positions. Basically there's the magnet contacts, and it indicates where exactly it's located and choosing the one. The main problem is this thing stops working, and most of the people thinking that it's cause of the board or something else is broken inside the electronics, but usually the solution is really simple for this thing. The main problem is the top lid. So basically here, I'll try to turn it. It's the sensor, the button inside, and the wires that go to the main board usually are broken, and cause of this button this thing stops working. So basically it still identifies the magnet and so on, but it simply doesn't indicate that it's changed the position the button is pressed, and that's why it simply fails and doesn't work. The first thing when you get this thing, I would say it's to control the contacts. This thing, let me see inside. I bought the stainless steel lid. This is, I would say, must have, so it's really useful for these devices, because the ceramic one that comes with it is gone in a couple of months. With the stainless steel it will work forever. The other thing, first thing, of course, you will remove the cap so it wouldn't get broken. Wire, always disconnect, never leave it connected. So what we'll need for this repair, we'll need a screwdriver. We need the bits, the T15H, YH, because it has a hole in the middle. Another one is, I think it's T10H, same thing with the hole. We'll have a Phillips head, sort of the spatula, something to open it. If you have a bigger screwdriver, it will be really easy to lift the top lid. I would say, what would you do the first? You don't need to disassemble the top lid from the beginning or anything else. The first thing you would need to do is check if the button works. If you know that the button doesn't work, you know where the problem is, and it's really easy to fix. The button inside this thing is disassemblable, so you can even clean the button, but most of the cases are the wires. I see a lot of fails of the wires, especially for the button, because other wires for the high current, they're from silicone. The button wires, they are not from the silicone, from a different material, and it breaks really easy. So we take our T20 screwdriver, and we are removing the power cable. We unscrewing the holes, so I'll show you. I would say you don't even need to open the bottom part, I think so. Last time I opened it, so basically I done one time this type of the repair, so I know what to do. For you, as it will be for the first time, I'll save you some time and telling exactly what you need to do. So I'm not sure that this small compartment need to be open. I'll check what's inside, but yeah, I think it will need to be open. So here I use T15, here's T10, here's a simple Phillips screwdriver. So it's better to use a bigger screwdrivers for the bigger screws. I'll use the small one. Even if I have the big one, it will be much cleaner, so you can see more details. So basically, when you remove these 4 screws, this part, I think it should be removable. Let's see. Yes, you can see, you can lift it, so you can bend it from this side. From the top one, it has some attachments here, so you can simply squeeze it, or you can insert your spatula or screwdriver here, so this thing will allow you to basically detach it from the top part. It's really hard to film and do the detachment, but I'll try my best. Okay, now I'll remove it and I will show you. So the board part is attached 4 clamps from here, and 2 are going on the top. So removing this, it will show you the internals. This is the most interesting part. So let's analyze some parts from here. I know that these 2 contacts are the button. For this, what you would need, if you have already at home a multimeter, it will save you a lot, so you wouldn't need to buy one for this type of the repair. But what we need to test the button of the lid. So we have our multimeter, we are putting it on the continuous, so, and now we'll be testing our button. So by default this button should be open, so you feel it doesn't sound anything. So basically what we'll do now, we'll close the lid and we'll shift it to the other position. So now lid, I'll choose the pressure position, so it will be much easier, because the lid now wouldn't open and it will be better for testing. So I put on the pressure position. Now I am doing the same test, checking the button. Okay, the button should be now closed, so you should hear the beep. You don't hear it, so we know right away the problem is in the button. Also I would show you another thing. For example, the button is okay. When it's closed, you hear the beep. That means the problem is not in the button, but in this case, usually it should be working. Maybe the fan wouldn't work. Now I'll show you how you can test another part. I will take our screwdriver and we'll disassemble the bottom part. Usually you don't need to do it. Only if you found that the problem is with the button, then you need to disassemble it to be able to rerun the wire or solder the existing wire, so it would be fixed. So basically what you do, you open the bottom part, you have 1 screw and you can see the internals. Now what we have here, usually, we'll test one more time. The tester is working fine. We can even test on one of the brackets, so it's okay. What we can test, we have the high voltage wires coming from the top part. So basically there is a fan wire, it's marked as a fan. I think it's a blue with the red. We are testing. You can hear the beep and it's lighting green, so it's mean that the top fan is working. Okay, we tested the top fan. Now what else can be tested? We should test the heating element. So there are only 3-4 things on the top. There is our button, there is a heating element, there is a fan, and there is also a thermistor to indicate the temperature. I think it's somewhere here. I never tested, but I don't think it may be broken, but yeah. Now what we need to do is to test our heating element. Our heating element is the red wire here. You can see it's close to the relay, and I think it should have a contact with a blue wire from here. You hear the beep, So what we tested the heating element from the lid. It's working fine, so it's closed. We tested the fan. It's working fine, so it's also closed. And the other thing, we tested the button. So in this way, we know definitely that the problem is in the button, because even if we shift the lid to the pressure position, the button doesn't sound. So what we'll do next? We know that the button is the problem. It can be the wire or the button. For this, the most, I would say, complicated part in this machine, we need to disassemble the top lid. The top lid is a little bit hard to disassemble, especially when the machine was used a lot. And Ninja has not quite good plastic, I would say. It can break, so do it carefully. If it's sitting for a long time, there is a big chance that some pieces may crack a bit, but this is how it is. You can do a lot with it. Removing the top part. It has, I remember, 3 latches. So to do it, you insert your finger here and you start gently. Don't put only one part or it will crack here. You need to put at least more pressure on the surface. And you hear one click, second click, and the third one. Okay, 3 positions. So this is our fan. We already tested a red and a blue wire, what indicated the fan. The fan is fully fine. So the fan is okay. So we'll unscrew the top part. We'll use the Phillips screwdriver. We'll remove these 2 screws. Okay, don't forget the screw placement. Sometimes they're different. When you especially disassemble the whole machine, there are plenty of screws. They're almost the same side, but it's a bit different. That can confuse you. Okay, we remove the top part, 2 screws. Let's continue. What we'll do next? We'll open the machine. Okay. Now, if you can see, on the video you can see everything. So we'll start the rest of the screws. There are 2 screws where the slider is. So we're removing this one. I hope you see them good. You need to check the screws are a little bit smaller than the one that's located on this part. So you need to insert the same one. If you do the opposite, you can break the plastic where the screw goes in. So this one are a little bit bigger. So we are removing all the screws that we see. Okay. Now let's see where the complicated part is from this disassemble. So where the not from this side, other side, you can see here goes all the wires. This bottom cap need to be removed. After that, there are 2 screws. You remove this plastic, you remove this plastic, and then the lid should go out. So the thing, we need to remove this part of the plastic. It has, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 6 latches. So we'll remove it now. As you can see, I inserted my spatula tool here and I tried to bend it a bit. Be cautious because this thing, it's as I told, with the thinner plastic. So you simply apply a bit more pressure and it should be out. If you have a couple of tools, it's even better because you can see it open from the corner. I already see the top one, so I'm continue inserting it. I put my finger, I insert the second one so I can, okay, you see? And it popped out. This is, I would say, was one of the hardest things to remove. It wasn't hard, it simply need to be in caution not to break it. What we'll do next, we see 2 more screws from here. I'll put like this so you wouldn't really see them, but I will unscrew them. And I don't know, yeah, you see them well. So the second one. This thing are usually quite expensive, so I would prefer to fix it than buying the same unit. And I see a lot of fails this type when basically it can detect the slider position, and a lot of people doing it the board and throwing this thing into the garbage. And basically, so we remove these 2 screws, so we'll use our spatula again to be able to extract this part of the plastic. So as you can see, I'm inserting from all the sides, and I'm trying to find the correct attachment angle in this way. Oh, it popped out, as you can see. Okay, this part is already up, so I'm turning, doing the same from this side. Okay, this side is the same. Okay, now I have it here, so yeah, as you can see, it survived. These plastics, basically after a couple of years, they become really fragile, so don't put too much pressure or you'll break it. Now we got this part out, we see our mechanism. What we'll do next, don't try to force it. We have 2 more screws from the top, we need to remove them. To do this, what we need to do, it's to insert something and to remove the middle pin. Be cautious, because when we'll remove it, the top lid wouldn't be attached to the bottom one, only cable will be keeping it in place, so you can break the cable in this way. So keep the top lid pressed a bit when you're inserting the pin to remove the internal one. So, and it will slide out. When it slides out, this is the pin you need to remove. You can see, be really careful, because now all the pressure will be on the cable. So one extra move and you'll break it. So you can lift a bit up, this thing pops up, and now, I don't know if you can see, there are 2 more screws from inside. So you need to remove the screws. I gently put it like this. I'll use my screwdriver to remove the resting 2 screws. I know that you don't see them now, but I'll show you after I show you the placement of the screws. So 1, 2. Okay, the 2 screws are removed. And that's it. We are putting this thing carefully back. So as you can see, I removed the screws. So the top part now it's not kept by anything. So what we are doing next? We are placing back our stuff to the carpet. So now we need to lift this part. What else is keeping it? It's one more thing. It's where the slider button is. There's also, this thing is clipped here. So we need to carefully unclip it. But for this, you can use the small spatula tool to basically lift it, but it's too small. As you can see, the machine is huge. So we'll use a simple flat screwdriver. What we'll do, we'll insert the screwdriver between the plastic and the lid, and we are trying to find where the thing is attached to. So last time I done it from the other way, it was easier, so I'll do it the same way now also. So as I told you, be careful with the cable. Okay, now as you can see here, I forgot to mention, sorry, this plastic need to be removed before you pick up the lid. So yeah, I simply, when I was done doing first time, I also saw that there is a resistance, the same thing happening now. How to remove it? Where are the screws? You lift it a little bit, and you need to insert something on the top. So basically it's detached from the main part. I'll do it carefully, not to break it, as I told you. This thing has really thin plastic, so I'm finding the places where I can insert my screwdriver to be able to detach it from the lid. In this way it will pop up. So basically I remember the last time it was also one of the toughest part to do, because it has attachment on this side and also from the other. From the other, I mean, maybe it would be for you even better to see it from the top. Let me move it. So here on the top, there are some clicks. So you need to do it carefully, because this thing, it's also attached to the top. So, and this thing needs to be moved. So I would say in whole disassembly process, this is the hardest part to remove. As I told, don't over force the plastic. I removed, you see, from this side, so you can see it slided out. Same thing need to be done from here. Here I also playing with the screwdriver to be able to insert it, basically not to break it, as I told you, because there's a lot of pressure on this plastic part. So, okay, now you see, this is the most hardest. You need to get the screwdriver inside here to be able to detach this part. When it's removed, that's it. I think it was the hardest part to remove from this machine. Okay, now we have our lid. We'll place it on the same position. What we can also do, it's I think this thing can be directly moved out of the way. I don't think we need to change it. Okay, you see, you simply keep it pressed. See, it's moving out by itself almost. Now when you move this one, okay, so keep always the lid, because the cable is the most important part. You put it upside down, oh, not upside down, in normal position, and you simply lift it, this lid, and that's it. This part will fall down, don't forget it. Okay, that's all. You removed, you see the internals. Now, oops, that's fine. Okay, so what our problem is this button. That's it. So you hear the click. You can even see it, how it clicks. When it clicks, now it's disconnected, so it's not continuous. So what we do when we are sliding, let me remember. Yes. So basically, now we need to test this button. Let's test it. We are putting back our multimeter directly to the button to be able to test it. You hear the sound, that means the button is working. We try to lift the lid. Now testing. That's it. The button, it's pressed, so it doesn't sound. When it's unpressed, it sounds. So it's working in a normally closed position. That means the device should detect that there is a closed circuit, then only it would work. So in this way, this means when we test the button from the board part, Oops, sorry. It should be in closed position. That's in reality, it's open. So the problem is definitely with the wire of the button. So the button is fine, we tested before, and basically we'll now see what's wrong with the wire and try to fix it basically. So we'll put this thing back, we'll see the wire, and we'll come back. So yeah. You can pull a bit the wires, red and black, and if the wire shifts out, this means you'll see exactly where it's broken. Why I told that the wire are different, you see the wire thinner and covered basically by the plastic. All other wires I covered with the silicone. So it's not covered, basically isolation is the silicone. So they are more resistant. Even then, I would say they're not perfect and they also break. I see some cases when they broke, but it's much more resistant. So okay, I'll check the wiring, solder it, and come back to you, and we'll continue. Okay, let's continue. The problem was in the black wire. As I told you, it was broken inside. Usually one of these two breaks. So the red wire was fine. So now when it's fixed, basically what we need to do, and the first thing when we realize that it's fixed, we are doing is when we are turning it upside down, we'll simply test a button again. So now the button is not pressed. So basically it's normally closed when we are testing the button. Oh, sorry. Oh. It's a little bit tough to test. Ah, I can insert from the top. So I'm inserting from the top. And as you can see, you hear the sound. I can even show you, it's light green. So it means that the button is working. When the button is working, I done some tests of the slider and it worked fine. So basically in this way, even without disassembling whole unit, you can identify it right away where the problem is. And most of the cases is the button. That's why the slider doesn't work. You fix it, replace one of the wire, or simply I done the soldering of the wire and putting the thermal isolator, putting it back together, the lid is working again. So what I'll do next, it's simply I'll disassemble in opposite. I'll show you how to assemble it back, and you have your Ninja working again. So let's do the back assembly. We have our button, we'll put our lid, we align it carefully. When the lid, oh, of course, don't forget about this thing. So, 1 second. Okay, it's in place. We are putting the lid back. It should clamp. When you hear the clamp, it's fully fine. So next step, we can open it, a little bit secure it. Don't forget that the wire is still loose. So the next thing I would recommend you can put the top screws so this thing doesn't fall down. I'll use the bigger screwdriver to speed up the process. When you put in these screws, it's already secured in place. You put the cap. As you can see, the 3 parts. You check where the air valve is. You put in the cap, aligning it. The most important to align it, and it's in place. That's it. The lid is all together. We need to put 2 screws here, 2 screws from this side, and the most important to insert the pin. The pin, I would say, it's the heavy, hardest part. So first thing, what we'll need to do, I think I'll put the cover to the electric part. so in this way I wouldn't damage any wires. Don't forget to pass the wire through the hole. Usually I do it in much more comfortable space, but because I wanted to do a video about it, I need to work on the floor. Working on the table is much more pleasant. Okay, we'll put this 2 clamps from the top, 6 clamps from the sides. Okay, this is in place. Okay, now as we put it our top lid here, what we'll need to do next, it's as we told, we put the side one to be able easily to move it around. Now we'll need to attach the 2 parts. Don't forget where the springs are, the screws there. So basically we'll need to put the 2 screws back. These are the longer one, as I remember. So I will screw one of them, and oops, the second one should be somewhere around here. Okay, I'll take the second one. I'll do the same thing. I need to magnetize my screwdriver a bit. It lost its... Okay, I'll insert it with my hand. It's better to have the magnetized screwdriver. It will facilitate your life. Both of the screws are in. Now watch, look. For the springs, there are 2 holes that you need to attach. Don't forget about the cable. Don't put any pressure on it. Bend it a little bit. So the springs should enter these 2 holes. They would bend and it will go to its position. So okay, now we'll close the lid. They put the slider to the pressure, so it will be locked. Now we need to insert our pin. Where the pin is? Okay, here's the pin. The pin is better to insert when the lid is a little bit open, so I'll start inserting now, and maybe I'll open a bit the lid so it will remove the pressure from the springs and I can align them much better. Okay, you can see I'm inserting this thing, I'm bending it, so the more the lid is open, the easier is to insert it. Okay, as you can see, I inserted this thing. So, okay, I need to bend a bit. Okay. Okay, the pin is in. Okay, when the pin is in, I'm putting it back. I'm checking inside that the wires are okay. I can see that all the wires are intact. I didn't put any pressure on any wires. They're all loose. I'm aligning this thing and I'm inserting the bottom part. The bottom part has 2 attachments from the top and in the bottom, so when I insert in it, it should clip and it goes inside. Now I use the same longer screws to keep it tight here. I'll use a bigger screwdriver for another one for easy work. Okay, one is in. I'll put in the second one. Okay, the second one is also inserted. Now Don't over tight them because the plastic is really fragile. I put the small cover here. As you can see, it's inserted from the top and it should click. That's it. This part is done. Now we'll move to the part where the slider is. We'll start inserting it from the top. The top part should click. Okay. We can bend it a little bit so it should click basically in the end. Okay, it clicked. The bottom part also. Here, don't forget, are the smaller screws. Don't insert the big one or it can bend the plastic. This one, the smallest one. This part is done. We'll insert another two on this part. As you can see, when you insert them from here. Okay, and the second one. You put in this back together. I'm sliding it to the pressure so I can turn it around. Okay, so this part we can also close. So where our screw is, it's here, and this one is here. So I need to align it to it. Okay, I'll align it. I'm putting the screw back. This is T10 as I remember. So I'm putting it back. Okay, so next thing what I would recommend you to do, it's still turn it to this part. You can basically unlift it back, or you can keep it open from the beginning, and before you do anything, or you can simply do it, I would recommend you to rerun the last test of the button, basically to know for sure that everything is okay. I need to open it from the top, sorry. Okay, one and the second one. So yeah, I'm putting the multimeter on the testing and I'm doing the last test of the button. Now it's in the pressure mode, so it should be closed. You see, it's closed, so in most of the cases the thing would work. So I'm putting gently the wires back, checking that nothing is bended. So I'm putting this part back. Now I'm putting my screws back. I'm inserting the small one. Oops, where did it go? This is T10. I'm not sure that this thing is supposed to be removed or not. I simply remove it automatically. Okay, I'm putting this back. I'm putting this part also. Oh, watch out for the cable, put it exactly at the position where it was. Here it's T15. I'm putting this thing back. And my last screws. Different screwdriver. That's it. You have your Foodi working again. It wasn't such a hard thing, it was only the button, so you can even replace the button, fix the existing button. It's really easy to fix because the internal contacts can be cleaned and it will be working. So this repair doesn't cost you anything, but it saves you a lot of money, so you can have your device working again. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care.